Hey guys, just doing a solutions video for the Year 11 General Maths investing and borrowing practice test, sorry. I'm not going to give you the solutions to the actual test. So this is a practice test. You can tell because it's Kanye this, Kanye that. So let's get started. Kanye's got 13,500. He wants to invest, finds a bank offering an account that's flat, 3.2% per annum. How much interest would Kanye earn from the account after 5 years? So, because it says flat, that is simple interest. So, SI equals PRT. The principal is 13,500 times by the rate as a decimal, 0.032, times by the time in years 5. Using the calculator over here, 13,500 times by 0.032 times by 5. 2160 interest. After 5 years, what will the total value of Kanye's account be after 10 years of investment? So we started off with 5 years. Now we're leaving it for 10 years. SI equals 13,500 times by 0.032 times by 10 this time. 4320, but it's asking for the total value of the account, not just the interest. Therefore, total value is going to be 13,500. His initial investment plus 4320 plus 13,500, 17,820 total value. Kanye puts 5 grand into an account, paying 4.10% per annum simple interest. How long would he need to invest the money to earn 5 grand interest? Your answer must be in years and months, the nearest month. All of that is relevant. I've only given you a formula, which is SI is equal to PRT, which I know is what we're using because it said simple interest. But this time I'm trying to find T. So I need to put everything else in that I know. I wanted to earn 5 grand in interest. I'm putting 5,000 in, times by the rate as a decimal, 0.041, times by T, how long? There's nothing stopping me working out what 5,000 times by 0.041 is 205 times by T. If I want to get T by itself, I divide by 205, but I have to do the same on both sides to cancel that out. So T is going to be 5,000 divided by 205. T is going to be 24.39. That's in years right now. That's into 2DP. So I know it's in years, but I need to know what 0.39 is in months, because it's a fraction of a year. So to get in months, 0.39 times by 12 months in a year is going to give me 4.68 months. And to the nearest month, well, that rounds up to 5 months. So therefore, 24 years, 5 months. Kanye invests 2,500 into account, paying 2.92% interest, compounding annually for 6 years. What would it grow after 6 years? So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to do it TVM solver and also using the formula. Okay, there is one question here where you must use TVM solver. You have no option. But everything else, I'm going to teach you TVM solver. But I'm also going to teach you the formula so you can do it either way. So TVM first. N equals I equals PV equals PMT equals FV equals P per Y equals CY equals All right, the interest rate is 2.92%. I'm going to use TVM Solver because it's compounding. PV, he put 2,500 into the account, so PV is going to be negative 2,500. It doesn't say anything about payments, and we don't deal with payments in year 11. FV, what would the investment grow to? So I'm solving for FV. It's compounding annually, so compound periods per year is 1. Payments per year is also going to be 1. It's going to happen for 6 years. 6. So apps, finance, TVM solver 6. 2.92 negative 2,500 0. FV alpha solve. FV is going to be 2971.25 to 2 decimal points. Therefore, $2971.25 after 6 years. Formula method. FV equals PV, 2,500, times by 1, plus the interest rate as a decimal, 0.0292 over K, the number of compounding periods per year is 1, to the power of K times by N. So it's going to be 1 compound period per year times by 6 years. So quit out of this. 0.0292, divide that by 1, add 1 to it, raise it to the power of 6, times that by 2,500, and you see you get the same exact answer, $2971.25 after 6 years. After 6 years, how much interest has the investment generated for Kanye? Interest equals FV minus PV is equal to 2971.25 minus the 2,500 initially invested. 2971.25 minus 2,500, $471.25 in interest. That's after 6 years. Page 1 is done. We're after page 2 now. Kanye invested $45,000 in an account paying 2.38% per annum interest, compounding monthly 3 years ago. Find the future value of Kanye's investment. Again, I'm going to do it both ways. TVM, N, I, PV, PMT, FV, PY, CY. Interest rate 2.3%. He invested 45,000, so it's negative 45,000 in PV. No payments. I want to know what it grows to, so solve for FV. It's compounding monthly, so PY is 12 and CY is also 12. N is going to be 3 years times by 12 periods per year. That's going to be 36. Apps, finance, TVM, solver, 36, 2.3, negative 45,000, 12, alpha, solve. That tells me it's going to be 48,211.45 to 2 decimal points. Therefore, 48,211.45 after 3 years. Formula method. Formula FV equals the PV 45,000 times by 1 plus 0.023 over 12 to the power of K, which was 12, times by the number of years, which was 3. So quit out of this. 0.023, divide that by 12, add 1 to it, did the brackets, to the power of 12 times by 3 is 36, times that by 45,000, you see we get the same answer, 48,211.45 to 2DP after 3 years again, right? How much worse off would Kanye be if his account compounded quarterly instead? So TVM, NI, PV, PMT, FV, PY, CY. What's the difference here? It's the same account. He's putting the same amount of money in, but this time it's going to compound quarterly. So it's going to be 3 years times by 4, which is 12. So on the finance TVM solver, 3 times 4, 12. Change PY and CY both to 4 for quarterly. Alpha solve. 48,205.10 to 2DP. Do it with a formula. FV equals 45,000 times by 1 plus 0.023, but now it's over 4 because it's compounding quarterly. 3 years times by, wrong. I should be consistent with the order. 4 times by 3. So again, I'm only doing it both ways because, I don't know, maybe I want to show off or something to show you that it really doesn't take that long. And if I'm explaining it and doing it both ways, that should show you that you've got plenty of time to do it in a double lesson. 48,205.10 again to 2 decimal points, but we're working out how much worse off. How much worse off? So obviously he's got less money here. 48,211.45 minus 48,205.10 equals 48,211.45 minus 48,205.10. $6.35 worse off. Kanye is looking for a way to invest his super funds after retirement. Kanye finds 3 banks with investment accounts offering the following interest rates. Compounding half yearly, 4.9%. Compounding quarterly, 5%. 4.98% compounding monthly. What are the effective interest rates for each bank? Bank 1, Bank 2, Bank 3. You must do it with a calculator. EFF bracket. So how do we access this? Apps, Finance, scroll down to EFF. You put the rate that it says it is. So Bank 1 says it's 4.9. Then you put a comma, and then you put the number of compounding periods per year. If it compounds half yearly, it's 2. So I put in what I typed. 4.9 comma 2 equals 4.96%. Per annum. Compounding yearly. Basically what you're doing with this EFF is converting it to compounding per year so that you're comparing apples to apples. 5 comma compounding quarterly 4 and EFF 4.98 comma compounding monthly, so 12 per year. Apps, Finance 5 comma 4, 5.09% per annum. And the last one, Apps, Finance EFF 4.98 comma 12, 5.095. That rounds to 5.10% per annum. These are all to 2DP, 2DP, 2DP. What are the effective rates? Done. Into which bank should Kanye deposit his super funds? Explain why this bank would be a better choice. bank 3 is the best choice as it has the highest effective rate, so would earn the most interest. That's page 2 done. Page 3, let's go. Kanye has a savings account paying 4.15% interest. Find the interest Kanye earns from his savings account for the month of November using the transaction record below. So remember, it's simple interest in a savings account for every day at a particular balance. So we need to break it up into 1, 2, 3 different SI calculations. So 1, 2, remember the balance changed on the 4th, so we need to work out the interest from 1 to 3 of November. That's going to be SI is equal to, he had 22,640 times by the interest rate of 0.0415 as a decimal, times by, how many days is that? Remember, counting includes the first day except for credit cards. So this is not credit cards, so you count all the days. 1st, 2nd, 3rd of November, that's 3 days. So 3 on 365 equals 2640 times by 0.0415 times by 3 divided by 365. 0.90 rounded to 2 decimal points. Next, 4.2, it changed on the 19th. Changed on the 19th, so we need 4 to 18th of November. So including the 4th, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's 15 days. SI equals, the balance was 2885 times by, the interest rate is a decimal, times by the number of days, 15 over 365. Keeps freezing. What the? 2885 times by 0.0415 times by 15 over 365. $4.92 to 2 decimal points. I'm going to try moving this over to the left so that my right-handed self doesn't keep touching it. Now November is a 30-day month, so we need the 19th of November to 30 November. How many days is that? 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 12 days. SI equals, the balance was 2995 times by 0.0415 times by 12 on 365. 2995 times 0.0415 times by 12 over 365. $4.09 rounded to 2 decimal points. Therefore, that's my daughter. Therefore, total interest equals 0.9 plus $4.92 plus $4.09. This shifted. $0.9 plus 4.92 plus 4.09 $9.91. Interest earned. Okay. That's question 6 done. 7. Kanye obtained a 20 grand line of credit from his bank on August 16. Interest rate 7.55%. Withdrew 8 grand on August 18. Withdrew another 25. Withdrew another 2,500 on August 30. Withdrew another 6,700 on September 27. Calculate the amount of interest Kanye must pay for the month of August. So he opened the line of credit on August 16. So 16/2. He withdrew on the 18th. So from the 16th to the 17th August, which is how many days? 16, 17, 2 days. No withdrawals, therefore no interest that he has to pay. But 18th to, when's the next thing that happens? He withdrew on August 30, so 18th to the 29th of August. He had a particular balance, so counting the first day, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. That's 12 days. The interest he needs to pay. So this is like the inverse of a savings account. Savings account, you were earning interest on the balance that you had in the bank. Here, you're paying interest on everything that you have withdrawn. So 18th to 29th, he had 8,000 withdrawn, times by the rate of 0.0755, times by 12 on 365. 8,000 times by 0.0755 times by 12 on 365. You're going to pay $19.86 interest to 2DP. What's next? You have to do it for the whole month. So 29th of August, on the 30th, he withdrew another 2,500, so 32. August is a 31-day month. August 30, 31, 2 days. He didn't just have 8,000 withdrawn. He had 8,000 plus 2,500. He had 10,500 withdrawn. Times by 0.0755 times by 2 on 365 equals 10,500 times by 0.0755 times by 2 over 365. $4.34 to 2 decimal points. Therefore, interest paid in August is $19.86 plus $4.34. $19.86 plus $4.34. $24.20. That's for August. Calculate the amount of interest Kanye must pay for the month of September. So the next thing that happens is on the 27th. So 1 to the 26th of September, which is how many days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 26 days, which is kind of obvious, but it's nice to check. 26 days. How much did he have out? It was still the 10,500 was still out. 10,500 times by the rate 0.0755 times by the number of days 26 over 365. 10,500 times by 0.0755 times by 26 over 365. That's a lot of interest, $56.47 to 2 decimal points. We need it to the month for the month of September. On the 27th, we withdrew again. It's a big spender. September is a 30-day month, so to 30 of September. 27, 28, 29, 30, 4 days. SI equals, he still had 10,500, but had a further 6,700 withdrawn, so 10,500 withdrawn plus 6,700. 0, 0, 12, 6, 7, 17,200 withdrawn, times by the rate, 0.0755, times by 4 days. Move this little working over there. 17,200 times by 0.0755 times by 4 divided by 365. $14.23 to 2 decimal points. Therefore, interest paid in September is $56.47 plus $14.23. 56.47 plus 14.23. $70.70. Underline. Kanye goes on a shopping spree in his own store. Sounds like him. Buys $2,500 worth of clothes on his credit card. So this is a credit card question on January 15. He also buys shoes on credit for $600 on January 23rd. He gets the statement on 27th and has 25 days, which gets you up to February 20 to pay back the credit used. He has an interest rate of 17.5% per annum. What is the effective interest-free period for the clothes? So we're doing the clothes right now that Kanye bought. So clothes. Jan 15. Feb 20 to pay back. So my preferred way of doing this is to count up to the end of the month. January is a 31-day. Jan equals 31 days. My preferred way is counting up to the end of the month and then adding on this 20 that you've got in the next month. So remember, credit cards, you don't count the first day. So days in January. 15th bought 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. 16 days. And then days in Feb are going to be 20 because you're told it's February 20th, 20 days. Therefore, 36 days interest free. What is the effective interest free period for the shoes Kanye bought? Shoes Jan 23, Feb 20 to pay back. January's 31 days. So days in Jan. Don't count the first day. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. 8 days. And days in Feb. is going to be 20 days. Therefore, 28 days interest free. If Kanye pays back the credit on both purchases on 28th of February, calculate the amount of interest to be charged on the two purchases. So he's paying late. He's meant to have until February 20th to pay back, but he paid on the 28th. So Feb 20 to 28 equals, remember, credit card, you're not counting the first day of. So 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. 8 days. So clothes. Clothes, SI equals, how much were the clothes worth? 2,500 times by the interest rate as a decimal, 0.175 times by number of days overdue from the interest-free period, 8 over 365 equals 2,500 times by 0.175 times by 8 divided by 365. $9.59 to 2 decimal points. Shoes, SI equals $600 times by 0.175 times by, he also paid them 8 days late, 600 times by 0.175 times by 8 divided by 365. $2.30 to 2 decimal points. Total amount of interest, therefore, total is $9.59 plus $2.30, $11.89. That's that page done. That's the total interest on both purchases. Next page, Kanye has $12,000 from his last Fire album launch. That was a while ago. He's researched 2 different banks. What do we need to look for in the banks? Interest is credited monthly in reinvested compound interest. If it says interest is paid monthly to the investor, simple interest. Kanye is quite happy to put the 12 grand away for one year's. 1 year to let it grow. Use calculations to determine which bank is Kanye better off taking out the term deposit for 1 year. Okay. Cash Credit Union's simple interest. So let's do it over here, because I'm going to do 3 separate calculations here. 12 grand. 12 grand, we're talking about this. For 1 year, we're talking about this. 2.4%. So SI equals 12,000 times by 0.024 times by 1 year. 12,000 times by 0.024 times by 1. 288 interest. Therefore, total is 12,288 that his money is going to grow to if he goes with Cash Credit Union. So this one was, move it down. This one was CCU, Cash Credit Union. This one is Balance Bank. I'm going to do it both methods, TVM, because it's compound interest, N, I, PV, PMT, FV, PY, CY. Let's see what it grows to. So FV, 12 grand is going to be in this column for 1 year, 12 months, 2.5%. So 2.5 PV, he's putting 12,000 in the bank, no payments. credited monthly. So PY and CY are both going to be 12 for monthly. N is going to be 1 year times by 12 periods per year is 12. Apps, finance, TVM, 12, 2.5. Negative 12,000, both 12. Alpha, enter, 12,303.46 to 2 decimal points. Formula method, FV equals 12,000 times by 1 plus. Interest rate is a decimal, 0.025 over number of compound periods per year, 12 to the power of K, which was 12 times by 1 year, 0.025 divided by 12, add 1 to the power of 12 times 1 is 12, times that by 12,000, 12,303.46 to 2 decimal points. Again, therefore, better off with BB. Does it ask you to find how much better off? Which bank is Kanye better off taking out? Better off with BB as it grows more to $12,303.46 versus $12,288. Kanye decides he's very happy with the term deposit he's taken out with the bank chosen in A. Kanye decides to put the end result of this investment into another term deposit with the same bank for a single year. Calculate the amount of interest he makes from this final 1 year term deposit. So we already decided that he chose this. That's the better bank. What's the end result of it? He's got $12,303.46. So TVM method and balance bank. So it's going to be, let's just do the variables. PMT, FV, PY, CY. Interest rate. If he's putting 12,303, it's still going to go in the same place, 2.5%. He's putting $12,303.46 into the bank. No payments. Solving for FV. PY and CY are still both 12. 1 year times 12 is equal to 12, obviously. Apps, finance, TVM, 12. Negative 12,303.46. Alpha, solve 12,614. That's going to round to 0.60 to 2 decimal points. Formula method. FV equals, he put $12,303.46 in, times by 1 plus interest rate of 0.025 over 12 to the power of 12 times by 1 year. 0.025 divided by 12 plus 1 to the power of 12 times that by 12,303.46. Again, $12,614.60. Calculate the amount of interest he earns from this final 1 year term deposit. Interest is going to be the FV, what it grew to, minus what it started off at, which was, remember, it wasn't 12,000. It's been in the term deposit before. This time the term deposit started at $12,303.46. So 12,614.6 minus 12,303.46. $311.14 interest. That page done. Is this the last page? Last page. Awesome. Kanye earns a lot of money as a musician, producer, and general rap superstar, and has a yearly income of $200,000. Calculate Kanye's after-tax return on the interest he earns in the final 1-year term deposit. Well, remember that he's gotten some income from interest, so we need to be careful. Total income is going to be the $200,000 plus the $311.14. $200,311.14. That doesn't make a difference to the tax bracket because the tax bracket starts at 180 grand and over. So he's in the 45% tax bracket. He earned $311.14 interest, so tax is going to be on the interest times by 45% of that, so 0.45 equals, that's already in my calculator, so just work it out, $140.01 to 2 decimal points. So find his after-tax return. So what is he actually going to get out of that interest after the government's taken some of it? ATR is what he's supposed to get, $311.14 minus what the government takes. 311.14 minus 140.01, $171.13 after tax return. Georgina invested 20 grand in an account which paid 6.2% per annum interest, compounding monthly for 3 years. Inflation averaged 1.8% per year over this time. Calculate the future value of the investment. So again, TVM, N, I, PV, PMT, FV, PY, CY. Compounding monthly, PY and CY are going to be 12, N is going to be 12 times by 3 years, 36. The interest rate, be careful with these two percentages. The interest rate of the account is 6.2%. We're not doing inflation yet. She invested 20 grand, so negative 20,000 for PV. No payments, 0 for PV. So finding FV, 96, 6.2, negative 20 grand. Alpha, enter. 24076.91 to 2 decimal points. Formula, method. FV equals, what did she put in? 20 grand times by 1 plus the interest rate as a decimal, 0.062 over the compounding periods per year, 12 to the power of that same K, which is 12 times by the number of years, 3. 0.062, divided that by 12, plus 1 to the power of 12 times by 3 is 36, times by 20 grand, again, 24076.91 to 2 decimal points. After 3 years. Find the value of 20 grand indexed for inflation. Indexed value is the OG value, 20,000, times by 1 plus the inflation rate as a decimal, which is 0.018 to the power of the number of years, which is 3. 1 plus 0.018 to the power of 3 times by 20 grand is 21099.56 to 2 decimal points. Find the real rate of return on the investment. So this is the only question where you must use TVM. Everything else here, I've done TVM if you're confident with it. I'm going to teach it to you like I do everything I prefer TVM for compound interest, but if you can't handle that, then use the formula. You're going to be taught both, up to you. But this is the only one where you have no choice. So you've got access to TVM doing the test on your device. So find the real annual rate of return on the investment, N, I, we're solving for I, PV, PMT is nothing, FV equal PY, CY equals. PY and CY stay at 1, N is the number of years of inflation, which was 3. PV is the indexed value of the original investment indexed for inflation as a negative. So it's negative $21,099.56. FV is what it grew to in the account. So it grew to 24,076.91. So all I've got left is apps, finance, TVM solver 3. Negative 21,099.56. 24,076.91. Change these both to 1. Alpha, enter. 4.498, 4.5 to 2 decimal points. Therefore, real rate of return is 4.5% per annum, considering the effect of inflation. Yep. If we were ignoring the fact, if we just said it grew from $20,000 to $24,000, it would grow annually by a higher percentage than this. But we're being smart and we're saying, well, 20 grand, something worth 20 grand would be worth $21,099.56 in that time anyway. So actually your money grew from that to that, so it didn't grow by as much. And that growth per year is 4.5% per annum, which considers the effect of inflation. All right, so that is the solutions for the investing and borrowing test done. Just remember, you don't have to do both TVM and the formula method. I'm just showing both to deliberately use up more time, but to show you that this length of test in a double lesson is entirely fair. Okay, hopefully that helps you out. See you in the next video.